back to the SA Sports Show. Time to talk SANFL. And I'll tell you what, it's a hot season.
It's a hot season.
It is a really hot season, mate. Anybody from anywhere. Look, Westies and North, whoa, here we go.
Yeah, Westies have hit a bit of a purple streak at the moment. They're looking good.
It's a great setup at the minute, the SANFL. Joining us now is the CEO of the Norwood Footy Club, James Fantasia. Hi, mate.
Hi, Barry.
Nice to see you, mate. The last couple of times we've had Jade in, haven't won a game, bingo, you win a game and you're in. The CEO comes in.
I mean, let's just get that straight.
You see the bosses.
If it's not going well, that's
handball. Exactly, yeah.
That's a good win, mate.
No, it was terrific. It was great to get that reward for effort, as you know. And I think the frustration for us, it's not, it's kind of magnified because of the wins and losses, but the last 4 or 5 weeks where we've actually been right in games,
exactly,
and they're very winnable. They're frustrating. You don't always win those ones, as you know, but winning 1, 2 of those usually is what would happen. And I think that's where it's just become really quite a tough drive for the boys.
Because it was a very tough start of the year. I mean, that was really behind the 8 ball at half time, and you could see that this is going to be tough to win it, and you're virtually 0-2 after an unbelievable win in the grand final and premiership. You sort of maybe a premiership hangover, but it's been a really it's been a tough 8 weeks.
It has,
and as you said, you're just starting to up that down that hill a bit.
What I find interesting, Greg and Barry, you've both been around footy clubs for a long time, and we're a win-loss, industry, and the higher the grade, the more pressure will come. And I've been really proud of our club, the way that it's actually conducted itself over that period. The 1 and 2, you start getting a bit prickly.
Yeah.
When you start pushing it out. And then people are starting to bring up records, or there's another internal kind of demon that you have to deal with.
Yeah.
And imagine when you're a player, and we've all experienced this, but you go to the local deli, you go and see the next door neighbour, you go and visit mum or dad or whoever it is, everyone says to you, oh, geez, you guys aren't going well at the moment, are you?
They only look at the result.
And that's right. So there's a whole lot of this negativity that gets bred into it. But I thought that was kind of an important thing to see how you're placed, in terms of the belief in your system, your people.
Yeah.
There was no finger pointing.
Yep.
And look, we've still got a long way to go, but I think the belief of the group is still so important when you're not going so well.
Yeah.
It's easy to jump in when it's going well.
Well, it's probably not so well. I mean, you sort of look at it. I looked at some of the results. And you lost by 3 points the other week. You lost by 6 points, I think, the week before that. Fortnight before that, it was 7 points. So, you're right around the mark. You quite easily could be 4 wins as we're sitting, but you're still getting the finger pointed by, 0-8.
Well, the externals. The external pressure comes. But what I'm saying, Greg, I think internally they hung tough. They knew that there was more to this than just those results.
Yep.
This was repairable. It can be and still is.
Yeah.
We've had a mix of players that we just haven't had our best combination, and there's most clubs go through those at different times.
Yeah.
But on the weekend we got to celebrate a captain's 100th game.
Yeah.
Harry Boyd's 50th game.
Yep.
So those little tiny things that come in, and I think they wanted to perform for
those
Matt
guys,
and as well.
Yeah.
And so that was such a great reward for those boys in particular.
And you'll be bouncing around the place now a little bit. You've had the win. That eliminates all that stuff you're talking about, all that external, pressure and whatever that's coming from Coopers Hill. There'll be a bit of that going on for sure.
Yeah.
But that takes care of all that, and it gives the club a little lift. Now you've got Port at Coopers Stadium, and followed, I think, by Sturt as well the week after. So you've got a couple of really big games now that if you win a couple of them, and all of a sudden you're back in the thing. That's simple.
Yeah,
preferably the Sturt one, by the way.
Yeah. Well, I think you've hit the nail on the head, and I always liked, even last year, I kind of love looking at a season, especially in our season, the SANFL. It's a very tight competition, and what happens is we get to play each other twice. So we've played very good teams early. Like they've all been, especially our first 4 games, I think they're all, those teams have sat around the top 2 or 3 for the majority of the season so far. So we place good teams early. Now, I always love to see when you play them again.
Yeah.
How have you placed? And we played Port Adelaide at Alberton, 6 weeks ago, 7 weeks ago, and I thought that we really had a good game for
We
about
hit
a
the
half.
lead about the 22-minute mark.
Yes,
yeah, we
and
got to
were
about
right in
2
it. So
points.
I'm really looking forward. I don't think that one can come around quick enough for us. In a sense. So it's good timing. So a traditional.
It's always a big game.
A traditional Norwood Port game for us at the parade. You know, adds another little piece to it. So
and how people like going to the parade. Port Adelaide people like going to the parade.
Yeah, I agree.
No problem with that.
Yeah, and vice versa. You see
exactly
that.
right.
Yeah, there's a lot of healthy respect, and I'm hoping for a really big crowd. I mean, I think first and second played on the weekend, which was Glenelg
and
played Sturt.
7,500 people there.
It
was a cracker.
It wasn't fantastic. It's great for it's a great indicator again. You know,
well promoted.
So that's exciting. So I'm hoping we can get something similar for this weekend's round.
Is this Sunday?
Sunday match.
It's a Sunday game.
Yeah, Sunday.
Yeah, you've a good chance of getting them. Really.
So and Port up it'll be Port up and about. So it'll be another good game for us. So I look forward to that.
Yeah, and then of course the Blues the following week. Whoa, there we go. So they copped a little bit.
I don't know.
We don't want to talk
they
about
didn't show
them,
up. They
were
didn't
the opposite
show
of
up.
that. They were 8-0, and that game, that was a blowout very early too. So that's really interesting, isn't it? That again for me. There's no real surprise on any given weekend, given the nature of the competition. And I love how you mentioned earlier, Greg, that West Adelaide have resurrected in a sense, and I think Adam's got them ticking over very well. We played them a few weeks back in Port Lincoln, and you can really see the change in that group. And Central District are another club that's again playing good footy. So all of a sudden,
it was a great game last weekend. It was a fantastic game. Port Central's at halfway during the last quarter again. It was it was anyone's game. A little bit went Port's way, and they ended up win by a couple of goals. So it's it's always seems to be in the balance most of these games at the moment. Right at the death's door knock.
What does your list look like, mate? At the moment, I mean, as far as availability of players.
Look, we've still got a reasonably longer injury list than we'd like to. If an example might be, say Jackson Callow, who is a big recruit for us coming back out of from Hawthorn, and he didn't play until round 6, and then he he's hurt himself and had to go back into surgery. So we haven't really had that, been able to get those type of players back in. It was great to see like Trevor Sermon. Young Luke Sermon play on the weekend. He's had a couple of games now back, but he's had an indifferent season. And some guys who, they have those late surgeries and then they haven't quite got the numbers in their league, so it takes them a bit longer. So, young Pierce Seymour, and I thought he was outstanding on the weekend. I mean, so they're just starting to get some games under their belt now, and you're starting to see that come through.
It's a tough game, isn't it? I mean, we're talking. I mean, I spoke to a couple of ex-AFL players, and they were saying, I reckon this is harder than AFL. I think the body contact, and I was up on the boundary line on the weekend, and the body hits are just brutal. So it is a bit of a different game, and I can see why people enjoy watching SANFL at times because we're used to a little bit of melee. No one ever gets hurt. Some really good bumps and bruises, and I think for the AFL players that are coming into the system of the SANFL, I think it'd take a little while to get used to.
Absolutely, and I love when I see someone like young Max Michaelani, for example, who last year was, blooded into SANFL league footy, but really as an 18-year-old, and he played half a dozen games. Now, just see how much he's grown in that space of time.
Yeah,
and,
massive growth.
That's the nature of our competition, and I think the other part to that, of course, is from one year to the next, it can change so rapidly. Like one team, just a little bit of the right recruiting can have such a change on the composition on the nature of the team. So that's why I encourage people to get along and watch league football. You've said yourself, it's got a slightly different beat about it, but it's a tough and
is the word,
it's. I think it's a great product. So
it'll be tough this Sunday.
that's why you just take every win you can get. So we don't take it for granted. That's for sure.
It'll be tough this Sunday, I can tell you that. I don't think I'd like to be out there on Sunday.
No, 100%.
Those boys go for it when they play each other.
But I tell you what else happens, Baz. I think with the SANFL type of players, the clubs, they actually try and gear up when they play Port Adelaide, when they play Adelaide. They get to actually compare themselves to those AFL standards. So that they welcome the challenge, and that of course is what makes it even more difficult for those AFL clubs, of course, because they're after them each time.
Probably get more attention as well. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Yep.
But there's some big bodies out there. I mean, I was like I said, I was at watching the Bay Sturt last Sunday or Monday, sorry, and wow, they were just cracking. And there were some big boys on both sides.
Well, I don't think Sturt cracked down all that much, mate. From what I saw,
very little.
Very little.
Yeah, there was a little bit
really
going on behind one set of goals there, old Baz too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there was a little bit happening out there. Very emotional, a lot of people. Very emotional. Because it's community. It's all about community. But absolutely fantastic. It was a great game. Yeah.
Mate, thanks for joining us today. Good luck against Sturt in a fortnight. I would say good luck.
No, thanks, Baz.
But that'll be a cracker game, mate. I will be there on my favourite spot, which is Coopers Hill.
No, I look forward to seeing you there, and if it means that I'll only come in for the wins, I hope I'm coming back for the next few weeks.
Thanks for joining us, mate. The CEO of the Norwood Footy Club. Get down there next Sunday, Norwood Oval, Port Adelaide versus Norwood. What a big game that is.
Big game.
Back with more in just a moment.